Hello and welcome to this weekly reading. We are headed into the month of April, so I really wanted this reading to focus on the energies that are available to us. And I just thought it was perfect to come out this morning. It's very spring-like here in New Hampshire today. I'm out here in just my stocking feet. The sun feels glorious. I wanted to point the camera. I can't even see what my frame looks like. And it doesn't matter because I really wanted you to have the rays of the sun directly infusing you during this reading. And I wanted the bird song. The bird song is here because here is our symbol for this week of March 31st. We're heading into April tomorrow, and we have Capricorn 8. In a sunlit home, domesticated birds sing joyously. And I just feel we've been through some very turbulent months so far in 2019. And in listening to various astrologers, I do feel like April is going to be a transformative kind of a month. I do feel this sense of beautiful rebirth that's happening. And I think for many of us, March has been a particularly rough month. The retrograde period was challenging, but it woke us up to some new truth that we really need to integrate going forward. We need to step up to the plate and just simply own that and integrate it and move on ahead. And so I think there is this, Easter is always a big energy because it's got a lot of energy around it. It's got a lot of, for lack of a better term, baggage around it. And I feel like all of that is being lifted. All of this, resurrection energy and stuff. I feel a lighter sense of that, just wanting to let loose a little bit and not be quite so damn dramatic and just allowing more flow. I keep wanting to do this with my body because that's what I'm seeing in my mind's eye. Is just sort of shrugging off all of this dead weight that's been around for a long time energetically. So that's what I feel the promises of April. And when birds are mentioned in the Sabian symbols, that always speaks to spirit. And because this is domesticated birds and within a home setting and the sun is indicated, I just feel like we're slowly, we're not talking about the wild here. We're not talking about this crazy level of spiritual infusion, but much more measured, and where we're starting with domesticated birds. You think of them, they're likely in a cage, and we're just starting out slowly, and you know what? That's okay. That is the way lasting relationships, jobs, passions, that's the way those are built. When you go full force into something and you give everything you've got in the first 5 minutes, you're pretty spent. I saw something on Facebook that said something like, that when it was to that same effect, when you give everything you've got in this burst of passion, that's great, but it's not lasting. There isn't a diligence to it. And I feel like that's where we're coming to from a big you perspective, from the spiritual you, from this part of you that's bigger than what you can get a hold of here. But there's more to you. There's more available. And I feel like we're just edging on a new level of understanding that relationship with our spiritual self. And allow it time, allow it to, again, be the fine craftsman of whatever you want to call it. I'm not really loving the term spiritual, but it's the big blue sky self you. It's the you that sees every possibility. Those times when you're in the flow with that because you feel so uplifted. You feel like anything is possible. And just allow that to edge its way to show up for you more often. And like a fine craftsman, you just allow it more and more and more. Just let it seep in, little bits at a time. And that measured approach, but your diligence in wanting to invite that part of you into your life, that's important. It's the diligence factor. It's letting it eke in and not getting so wound up in the story and so wound up in the wound and so wound up in judgment and whose fault it is and this one's right and that one's wrong. You know, this is again like we just want to kind of shake that stuff off because it's heavy and it just doesn't allow that beautiful possibility part of you, the big possibilities, to come shining through. So this is about creating a mastery for yourself, and it's one little step at a time. I mean, I do these readings every week, and this is my passion for sure, and it has been for quite some time. But believe me, I screw up all the time. And I've had a big awakening around this with the Mercury retrograde period we've just been through. Enough that I'm like, okay, again, step up to the plate, cat. You need to integrate this and understand that this isn't working that well for you, is it? So it isn't about being perfect. If we were perfect, we'd have wings on our back. That's from an astrologer that I listen to often. It's not about perfection. It's about having the guts, having the courage to just keep showing up every day. And again, working on your fine craftsmanship with this. Like, I know there's more available for me here. I know there's other possibilities of how I could see this situation. I know that I'm open to receiving it. I know that I'll be led to the right resources or people or what have you to get me to the best outcome for me. And maybe that outcome doesn't even exist yet, but I'm going to be the creator of it because I'm ready. You know, can you feel the possibility that starts to show up as you do a little bit of this self-talk with that big blue sky self? Even on a cloudy day, that blue sky exists. But we really have to kind of look for it. We have to be aware. And that's the diligence that I feel for us, really beginning with baby steps in April. You know, it's been a period of turbulence. And we, in the numerological cycle, this is natural. We have a period of turbulence, and then we come to a new understanding. And then we begin to integrate that. And the cycle keeps going round and round. There's nothing bad or wrong about any of it. It helps to wake us up. It helps us to see, geez, that isn't working. I don't want to go through that again. So the onus is on you to make some changes. You know, we got to step up to the plate. I keep getting that message too. So for the card selections, we actually are having crystals this week. The crystals wanted to lead the way, and each one will have a card from The Secrets of the Mystic Grove, a deck I'm really loving since I purchased it. All right, first up is this piece. Hopefully I'm in the frame and hopefully you can see this. But again, doesn't really matter. It's the resonance of my voice. It's that you're here with me. This is just a magnificent stone. I'm looking at it in the sunlight. This is called a bacon opal, and my mother got this for me. My parents got this for me for my birthday from the fabulous Sunapee Rock Shop. Those in this area, I encourage you to visit there. And so it's bacon opal, and before I did this reading, I hadn't yet sat with this new crystal, so thank you for those participating because you're the ones that prompted this crystal to come forward, and I'd been meaning to do this, and now here we are. So this came to me, first of all the crystals this week are the earth element. So again, we're grounding whatever experience we've just been through, and maybe kind of a wake-up call to start again, to start anew, to take fresh steps towards that bigger part of who we can be. And this crystal came to me as the individualist. That's the name it wanted to have. And I just want to read to you the messages I was getting, which is, look deeper for meaning. There's many theories about what is good for us or not. It comes down to our version of the truth. Belief is everything. And I won't be able to show this on the camera, but there's this little part of the crystal on the back here, and it's going to be too hard for you to see on the camera, but it looks like the South Node from astrology, and that's really catching my attention. So that's the South Node is about everything that we have once believed, what we previously built ourselves upon, like the foundation we built ourselves upon. And the South Node is something you can always go back to. It is knowledge that is fully integrated. But what I get with this crystal is that it's time to take a look at that again. And the reason those messages were coming up is literally because of the bacon energy in this crystal, which I love, because I love bacon. A lot of people love bacon. And isn't it funny that there was a period of time, I mean, long ago, where, you know, like farmers, well, just people in general, would wake up and have eggs and bacon like every day. And then there was this big scare about it's bad for your heart, and everybody like stayed away from eggs and bacon and all of that. And now we got this keto thing coming in, and everybody's eating bacon again. And so you see, like, there's no finite truth. There's nothing that is static here on this planet, including us, most definitely us. But even something is inanimate, so to speak, as a food item. Everything, of course, carries energy. But it's just funny how we can change, the tides can change so quickly, because we're always coming into new knowledge and discovering new things that work better with the body, you know, and maybe this isn't as much of a problem as we thought it was. And that's the message for you here, is really about questioning the beliefs about what is good for you and what isn't. And that it's time to maybe step up to a new truth, and I'm talking a foundational truth. A new way of being that allows you, again, our symbol being in a sunlit home, domesticated birds sing joyously. That allows you that sense of freedom and openness. And remember what I was saying in the intro, I keep feeling this sense of like, get the saddlebags off from me. You know, I've been a pack mule for so long. And even around this sort of resurrection energy, it's just the heaviness wants to leave. There can be really beautiful light and potential in the concept of resurrection as we know it around Easter. And that just, it feels like that energy wants to be reborn within you. And that it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to switch a belief. And that the thing is that once you switch a belief is everything. Because once your heart is involved and you're all in, that's how we create in our world. We start creating what we think about and believe is true for us. So your card from the deck is repose. Interesting. This is going to be a month of taking time out to really rethink some stuff and to take in an important feeling I'm getting with this card is taking in your world. Take a moment to take the inventory of how are things looking to you? How are things feeling to you in the various parts of your life? That's for you to reflect upon. This repose card says pause, respite, time out. And this reading is really for the whole month. It's the energy of the month of April of 2019. So this is a time, again, of kind of getting your bearings, and like a little baby bird, You're going to start to get those wings moving, and you're going to start to be very curious and looking around and just taking a look at the terrain of your life. You're just being the witness. I ask you to not bring any judgment to what you're taking in. Just simply soak it in like a new baby bird that's just popped out of the egg, is just taking it in and is fluffing up those feathers that are starting to grow, and feeling the springtime and feeling the purpose and the pulse of life again. We go through these cycles all the time, so we're never going to be done with having a sort of a rebirth. It's going to come around again, so just make the most of this one and take in all that you're seeing and try to just be the witness to it. Try to just take that inventory and feel into how things are feeling to you, because this is how you can begin to fine-tune the knobs to be the fine craftsman as your big blue sky self and say, geez, I'd really love that to be a little more satisfying for me. I think I want to make a little tweak there. You don't have to decide what those are. You're setting intention when you do that. Setting intention for that big part of you that sees all potentials, that is always assisting you to have a little bit of an opening to help you out and to reset some of the belief systems. It's really putting judgment and categorization aside and just taking in this month, this coming month, what's going on in all my life. Think about that baby bird, okay? Think about the baby bird. In here they look, well, they could be butterflies, but they look more like moths to me. Sort of similar to Luna moths with the really big antennae. And just the reason that those beautiful creatures feel safe sitting upon her skin is because she is in this place of repose. She is in this time of just simply giving herself a time out to take stock, and you get very still, and the baby bird just looks around with its big eyes, taking in the world and the wonder that is your life, just really looking all around. Okay? It's a beautiful feeling that I get. Absolutely beautiful feeling I get for you for the month of April. All right. The second crystal is this little piece of raw Larimar. This was also from my parents from their recent trip to the Dominican. And they picked this out for me, and I love it. It's tiny, but it's powerful. And this also is from my earth team. So this says, earth energy is about grounding. You've come to a new realization in what you've been through thus far, particularly in 2019. And this is now about grounding, beginning to ground your experience here. Okay? We're just beginning to take some fresh steps of a rebirth process. So this piece is known to me as grid worker. And I want to read to you some of the notes, okay? Strong and capable lattice work. And actually I was seeing this more like, I think it's called rebar, when they put concrete in. There's these very strong steel rods, I think they are. Building from the ground up. Grounded creativity, like having an idea and it's just doing. It's very stepwise and methodical, not crazy blast out of the cannon kind of creativity. It's an idea and it forms and it morphs and it becomes. Discovery through working in a patient, can't read my own writing. In a patient and steady, productive pace. And capable of extremely hard work. I felt that immediately when I picked this piece up for the first time. This is you have the opportunity in the month of April, in order to allow this rebirth, and to take these steps as the fine craftsman that you are. And believe me, concrete workers are just as fine a craftsman as somebody who does fine art paintings or sculpture or some kind of a three-dimensional kind of artwork. I think about my rug hooking, any of these things that we consider artistic. A concrete worker is just as artistic and just as masterful in what they do. I wouldn't have the first clue about how to do that work properly. But do you know how important that is? Think about a home. If the concrete is not poured well and the process is not honored, that it is a stepwise process, and there is, I believe, I'm sorry if there's people who know about concrete here, but I believe there is this curing process. And if you don't allow for those portions of the process to play out and to become, you end up with huge cracks because you're pushing the process too fast. So the opportunity for you in the month of April is to slow your pace, okay, with whatever rebirth wants to come about. That's very individual for all of you. This is a general reading. But to take the time to slowly build the creation. And please take the time to understand that you might be making some tweaks here and there, because we might be talking about concrete as an example here. But even in the masterful work of the people that do that, such as pouring foundations of a home, they do make tweaks along the way. There are things that they have to adjust, even with something that is very, very solid and is meant to stand the test of time. That's how important this new beginning is for you. You are cementing, literally, a new set of, and I don't really want to use the word beliefs for you. I want to use values for you. You are taking a fresh look at some values that are going to be very important to you in whatever creative, and by that I mean whatever creation you want for your life. And this is a broad new beginning cycle in April. This complete rebirth. So allowing yourself those steps, it's almost like you are the apprentice, working with somebody who pours concrete, and you're seeing that fine craftsmanship. You're seeing, many of these people have decades of experience, and man, they are sought after. You can't even get on their calendar. So it's because you want that level of expertise, and that's what you're building, is the potential of that level of expertise where people want you in their life. They want to seek you out, no matter what it is, even if it's just like in creating a friend network. It doesn't have to be related to work or making money. It could just be putting the fine craftsmanship into your marriage or into your family or into building relationships that are meaningful to you. But you're creating something very solid here. And your card is tenacity. Yeah, baby. You're solid. Dedication, determination, and stubbornness. This is actually, I think the concept or example around concrete is very, very meaningful for you, because sometimes we have to get stubborn. You have to think about your values around that word stubborn. It gets a bad rap. Stubborn is tenacity. It is not giving up on your vision. It is sticking to it. It is having the determination and being dedicated and being committed, to it, while being able to make changes, because you're learning a new craft here. And you're going to become very, very good at whatever it is that you're setting up for yourself. Winds of change, baby, is coming for you. This is huge potential for something that makes you incredibly masterful. Again, people, I just see these, I say throngs of people. It's that your energy becomes magnetic. And people want to seek you out because they feel your integrity and they feel that fine craftsmanship. They feel the time and the energy and the dedication that you put into whatever it is that you want to craft. What is that rebirth thing for you starting this month? What do you want to give a bit of a makeover to? And really, you're building a new foundation from which to work. Wow. Big energy there. Okay. The final crystal is my piece of citrine. And this is also from my earth team. So all 3 crystals this week have been from the earth. So what that means is we've been through some turbulence, maybe some wreckage, some like awakening in this early part of 2019. And now this month in April, we are grounding something new. And for you, the name of this is Buddha. And so here's some notes about Buddha. And by the way, this is the most well-established crystal that I had in the choices this week. I've had this from the beginning of when I started. It was one of the very first crystals that I purchased. I just love citrine. And so for you, I want to give a shout out to this, or kind of a nod, or I feel like I want to like curtsy to you, just to say like, okay, you've really come to a place that this is a very deep integration and a lasting pattern that is a new level of the term mastery, of craftsmanship, of bringing the best that you can be forward this month. So with Buddha, this is abundance overflowing in joy, wealth of mind, body, and spirit, abundance driven from your gut. This literally ties to the sacral chakra right in your belly. It's a sense of deep self-worth and stepping out and being seen just as you are. No holds barred here, just you, no masks anymore. And no like, oh, I'm only going to talk, like I'm only going to do my messages or whatever through this channel, and I'm not going to post that over here because people will think I'm crazy. No. And humor, think about the Buddha, the big belly, and he's always laughing. It's just, there's such a sense of contentment with this piece. And the universe leads you to your wealth. You are cared for. Okay, this is, the Buddha has you within his arms. And together, I'm seeing the two of you just laughing and laughing. Do you know those people that they have this laugh that is so contagious that you can't help but, even if it just brings a smile to your face, that's the level of energy change that is happening for you this month. There's a big sense of contentment and joy that I feel for you. And that, when you really think about it, that is the ultimate when it comes to what we think of as abundance. Because if you're content, the universe hears that like a radio signal that you have been the one to dial in. And it brings you more things to be content about. And that is overflowing abundance. Because what more could we really, really want than a sense of just this lasting contentment? Even with all the ups and downs going on in our worlds, this crazy ocean that we glide upon, you're on your boat and you're just like, yeah. It's sort of like being on a roller coaster ride. You're just laughing and laughing. You're not screaming your head off because there's a big drop on the track. You're taking it all in, and you're like, yep, there's my stomach is in my throat now, You're enjoying the ride. essentially. And your card is imagination. Oh my gosh. There's so much potential for everyone who took part in this reading. But I feel for you, it's this sense of just, I feel like, because I talked about rebirth being a real big keynote of April. And I feel the egg cracking for you. I see this beautiful egg just cracking. But I don't see anything yet. It is the promise that consider what a bird must feel, since we have a bird in our Sabian symbol this week. What it must feel like when that crack occurs, and they've been living in darkness, just as humans do in the womb. And there's that crack, and this light just comes in, and the smell, and the sound, and the just amazing overload, the abundance of sensual experience. The senses become flooded. Just as when we are all born, we experience that same thing. But I'm really seeing it in terms of the egg, because I feel like you've been in this sort of lockdown position of like, nope, I'm gonna stay in my lane. That's what wants to come up for you. I'm gonna stay in my lane, and I'm gonna just have my little egg, and this is my little workspace. It's like the fine craftsman is in this tiny, tiny workshop that he can barely move into and have his tools around to create this beautiful mandala or whatever, an amulet or something. He can barely move around, and it's this just little bit of a place. And then the crack occurs because he is seen. He is seen for what he brings to this experience that we call life. And so much of that has to do with because he exudes that sense of, I'm just so in love with what I do. I love what I do. I love the feeling when I'm in my little tiny workspace and I'm doing my stuff, and I'm carefully brushing and crafting it. I'm putting my energy, my love, my contentment, my passion into every piece I create. I really think about this with silversmiths. Just the passion they have for the various patterns that they create. I mean, there's so many craftsmen we could talk about, but that one really comes to mind because, boy, when they've finished their work, their piece, it shines and it brings out the deeper beauty of the person wearing it. Okay, that's the feeling I get for you. So I'm not even focused on the card here, but it's this idea with imagination. It says conjure, dreams, create. And it's where, yes, you are referencing maybe some things that you have learned along the way. She's got the booklet. You're referring back to some core steps that are needed to form something, or to delve into a new passion that you might have, and doing a bit of research. Feels very like, academic coming through. But the real magic happens that after you've done your curiosity search, and you've taken it all in, remember the egg is cracking. And so that is a new day dawning. That is you taking whatever this fine craftsmanship is, whatever you're looking to rebirth in your life. And you're bringing your own very special touch, your own love, your own contentment, your own passion, just like that craftsman I talked about in the workshop. You are bringing your very unique fingerprint. No one has a fingerprint like you. Nobody has your DNA. Nobody has your same eye pattern. You are so unique. And so you can do some research. You can be curious. You can talk to people, whatever it may be. But the key is she's looked at the book and now she's looking away like, okay, I've taken that in. and now I'm ready for more creation. And there's a butterfly, butterflies around her, stars around her. I love it. I see a bee around her. A lot of potential for rebirth here, but there's also a butterfly by her ear. And so again, paying attention to your intuition, really being open to, this is that spiritual self, the blue sky self, that wants a little bit of room. Like, let that into your workshop. There might not be much space right now, but that spirit is what can create the crack in the egg that opens everything up, and out you come. And again, I get this feeling like from the intro, shaking off all of this dead weight, these packs on your back, you know, this or like a dirty coat that's you've just had on for too long. It's a new day, and it's time for your creation to come forward. Again, referencing maybe some history or some knowledge from somebody or something, some research, but then, man, you've got to make it your own. You've got to bring your imagination to it, and imagination is synonymous with your spirit, with the greater part of you that sees all possibilities and is the helper in bringing new creations. We need new options here on this planet. And we've always needed that. And that's some of the greatest inventions that happen every single day in this world, is because there is this intervention of this intuition that says, I wonder what would happen if, and boom, you know, there's some creation like the internet that has literally changed everybody's lives that lives here. So big possibilities for all of us in this coming month. And of course, the beginning of the month is always very potent, okay? So take advantage of this. I don't feel it like a rocket taking off. It's much more careful and deliberate than that, because the birds are caged from our symbol, but they're singing joyously. And they're starting within your home even, and taking some pride in your home and in the environments in which you find yourself. Okay, everybody, for those that would like a card reading with me, a personalized card reading, which is delivered as a video so you can watch it as many times as you want, or an astrological reading, or to take advantage of my new offering, the Blue Sky Experience. Those are one-to-one sessions done online or in person, just to focus on your big wish. I just act as the little fairy godmother until I introduce you to your fairy godmother, and then you take off from there. So all those offerings are available on bluesky-shop, shoppe.com. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope you have a magnificent start to your April. There are big opportunities available for all of us. Bye-bye for now.